my name is Taryn Boyd and I am a middle school Spanish teacher. In this video, I will show you how I use an activity called Card Talk to provide rich input for my students. All credit for Card Talk goes to Tina Hargaden and Ben Slavic from their book, A Natural Approach to the Year. If you're interested in checking out their book, check out the description below. This video will be about how to implement Card Talk and how I tweak it to work for me. I do Card Talk at the beginning of the year in Spanish 1 because it's an amazing way to build classroom culture and get students to get to know each other and for me to get to know the students. Not to mention, this is all done in the target language. Fortunately, very few materials are needed for this activity. Students will need one piece of printer paper and coloring materials, and that's it. So here are the directions I give my student. First, they need to fold their printer paper hot dog style. Then, in the middle, they need to write their name in big, bold letters. And then on each side, they're going to draw something that they love. It can be a person, pet, food, sport, activity, item, whatever they want. So here's an example. And I tell them that they can make a caption if it's going to be unclear as to what the item is. It's important to tell the students that their classmates will see these and that there's a chance that their name tag will be talked about during class. I give my students about 6 to 7 minutes to get these done. So I tell them that their drawings don't have to be perfect. They just have to be big and bold. So like I said, I use this activity the very first day of Spanish 1. And after the students are done making their name tags, I kind of peruse and look at the different name tags, and I usually end up asking one student if they're comfortable that I use theirs just because it's the first day of class, so I ask them and usually they say yes. So I take their name tag, I obviously get the attention of the class, I take their name tag and I put it at the front. And so hopefully their drawings are big and bold enough that the rest of the class can see. And then I simply start talking about their name tag in the target language, right? In my case, that would be Spanish. So if it's the very first lesson, I have to establish a lot of different things. I have to establish likes. For this particular name tag, I'd have to establish plays. And then after that, kind of the more specific things like the watermelon and volleyball. So as you can see, just with this name tag, there's quite a lot of content that you can talk about. So as I'm talking about the name tag, I start putting translations on the board so that students have meaning connected to each of the new target language words. So I also use hand gestures. So for likes, le gusta, the students go like this. So I kind of take some time to establish that that means he or she likes, le gusta. And then for juega, I have them kind of do like a basketball type, or if they want like swinging a baseball bat. So I establish those two verbs really early on. So through this process, I'm circling with the whole class. So I'm asking clarifying questions like, a Esther le gusta el basketball o el voleibol, right? So I'm asking either or questions, I'm asking yes or no questions, and then at the end I ask more open-ended questions. What does she like? What does she play? And you can make this as involved or as simple as you want. If you wanted, you could have so many more words. You could establish how to say sport, right? You could establish how to say favorite food. It's up to you how in-depth you want to go. So at the beginning of the year, I usually only do 1 or 2 cards per class. And it just depends on the attention span of the class. Some classes I could talk for 5 to 6 minutes about a single card. And in other classes, it just doesn't last that long. During this process, I don't have students writing anything. Their only job is to listen and to understand. Next, I'm going to talk about variations and extensions of Card Talk, so stay tuned if you want to hear about those. If you have an extremely antsy class, you can have them take out a piece of paper, and as you're talking about the different cards, you can have them write down the same notes that you have on the board. so that they have something to do with their hands. So this is a variation that I do with Card Talk a little bit later on. I take 2 cards from the same class and I put them on the board like this. So it's kind of comparing and contrasting. And we have fun figuring out what these students have in common and what they have different based off their cards. And then a lot of times I ask questions to the students so we can find out more. So for example, what they have in common, maybe they're both girls, they both live in the same town, they both study Spanish. The next extension is turn and talk. So after every card talk, I have the students turn to their partner and see how much they can say in the target language about that person. The next extension activity I call open the floor. And I ask in front of the whole class if there's anyone who could say a few sentences in the target language about the person that we just talked about. And there is always a few students who want to show off what they remember. The next extension activity is write and discuss. So after every card talk, at basically the end of the class period, I have students either take out their iPads or pens and paper, and they just copy what I write. And I write about the day. I write about things that we've talked about, the person that we talked about, and I make sure to point out different spelling things and grammar pop up, and it's a great way for them to see the language written. The last extension activity I have for you is called the quick quiz, and I have one student in the class who is in charge of writing a quick quiz for the day, not every day, but during the class they write down 5 to 10 facts that we talked about. And at the end of the class, I take that paper, I make a few of them false and translate them into Spanish. Then I have the rest of the class take out a piece of paper, number it 1 through usually 10. And it's basically a true-false quiz, and it's an easy grade to put in the grade book. So the way I've been describing Card Talk is ideal for novice learners, but you can use Card Talk for upper levels. You just give them different prompts. So instead of drawing what they love, you can have them draw their dream vacation, their future career goals, what they would buy with $1 million, their greatest fears, their favorite character or movie. So if you use a textbook, Card Talk is a great way to incorporate comprehensible input. So you can do Card Talk just based off of the unit that you're in. So if you're in a food unit, have them draw their favorite food on one side, least favorite food on the other. If you're in a clothes unit, have them draw like their favorite outfit or piece of clothing that they own. School unit, they could draw their favorite classes or favorite class, least favorite class. For a free time unit, they could draw their favorite sport or activity. And for a family unit, they could draw 2 people in their family or their family pets. That's it for this video. Be sure to subscribe to get more videos about teaching.